Hi everybody, I'm making this brief lecture, I'll call micro-lectures, to kind of hit on the highlights of things that I think require a little bit further explanation or maybe a little more insight into. But obviously you want to read everything in the chapter and understand all of it. The textbook is your guide on this, on how to prepare for tests and that kind of thing. Alright, so Chapter 6 is all about organizing the business. We've created a plan, we have a strategy. Now we have to think about how we organize all of our people and get us all walking in the same direction. There's lots and lots of ways to do that, which you're going to learn about in this chapter. So definitely read through all of it, but I'm going to hit on some highlights. So the learning objectives are, you want to be able to discuss the factors that influence a firm's organization structure. We're going to kind of go through that list real quick. We're going to explain specialization, and you want to be able to explain specialization and departmentalization as to the building blocks of any organizational structure, and they make sense when you see examples. Describe centralization and decentralization. Delegation and authority is the key, key ingredients in establishing the decision-making hierarchy, which is part and parcel to what an objective of how you organize. And you want to explain the differences between functional, divisional, and I'm going to spend time talking about matrix, and obviously for international organizations, structures and different types that are out there. There are lots of them, so and you wouldn't be too surprised to see how diverse they can really be. Describe the informal organization and discuss entrepreneuring. Okay. So, what are the determinants of an organizational structure? Well, you'll remember this from chapter 5. The mission and the strategy of the company are of the organization, I should say, are really going to drive how it's organized. In other words, you're going to do the things that are going to allow your organization to achieve the objectives of the strategy. Obviously a company size, if you're starting up a little hot dog stand in Chicago, you might start with just you. It's just you, true sole proprietorship. It's just you and nobody else. You're the cook, you're the customer service person, you're everything. Okay, and that's not uncommon for a very small company. But as you grow, you have to think about how you're going to actually organize as you grow. So obviously, with that little hot dog stand, does not look the same as McDonald's, who has an international organization and is quite large. And then obviously the internal and external environments come into play as well. I'm showing this slide because it shows this is how the Army is organized, and it's very, very regimented, and it's also very what we would call tall. There's lots of layers of management. Okay, that's because it's a very centralized authority structure, and which is quite necessary to coordinate all the, doing what they do when they're doing what they're supposed to do, which is, defend, whatever, what our country, however they do it. They have to be very, very well coordinated in that effort in battle. So the first of the hierarchies is which army it is. So there's the first army, the big red one. There's the third army. There's a fifth army. There are those are organized into corps, and you can see where the different corps and the corps are made up of divisions, and the divisions are made up of brigades, and you can start to see the scope of it as we move further down the road, and also which rank is basically in charge of that particular thing. The brigades. Then those are broken down into battalions, which are broken down into companies, which are broken down into platoons, and then are broken down into squads. And you can see how this is all put together. But the reason why it's set up in this very tall hierarchy is that it has to be very well coordinated. The trend, however, is towards flatter organizations, and technology is really driving a lot of that. And the layer that's getting squeezed the most is the middle management. Middle managers have roles that are being replaced by technology. The communication and that type of thing has really changed quite a bit, and it's up to a degree at least eliminated the need for some of the functions of middle management. So yeah, we're definitely trending to flatter organizational structures. Now I'm going to spend a little time on the matrix structure. This happens to be for Martha Stewart Living. And there's a CEO, but a matrix structure is basically taking two of the types of organization structures. One of them is by area, which we're going to call market, and the other one is by function. What they do. So their large functions are they have a media group and they have a merchandising group, and then they have all these different areas. Now, the reason why this looks like this is I might officially work, for example, in the magazine publishing division of the media group, okay? But I'm going to be assigned to a team that is managing and collectively we're managing each one of these functional areas, like for cooking. So I might be specifically doing magazine for the cooking market as we do it. Now, a lot of times, and in this case I can tell you, the management is actually across this area. Because that's what's important to them. They do all these things, but this is what's important, is to recognize the differences, make sure they have teams of people working towards creating the best possible offer to each one of these markets. So matrix structures are becoming much, much more common, and you will probably work in an organization that has, a matrix structure sometime in your future. Okay, so that's really what I wanted to talk about when it comes to organizational structure. Of course, everything else in the text is important, but and again, if you have any questions or anything part of it that you want a little clarification on, don't hesitate to reach out to me. And best of luck with it.